The first thing you want to do to create this drawing is create a pattern of your popsicle. Start by making two parallel lines about 3 inches downward in the middle of your paper. Connect them with a curvy line on each side until they come together. Afterwards, you're going to go up to the top and you're going to make a curve over to the left and the right, and then connect those two spots with a little bit of a hill. If you don't like what you've done, don't worry, when we go to cut it out, you can correct that. Go right down the middle of your popsicle to make the popsicle stick, make a line down, curve it under, and go back up. Now you're ready to cut your pattern out. Take a pair of scissors and cut all the way around the perimeter of the popsicle. When you do this, make sure not to cut off your popsicle stick. Now after you have finished cutting this out, take your popsicle pattern and fold it in half, and that way you can trim whatever parts that you don't like at the same time. 2 is always better than 1 when cutting out. And voila, after you finish that, you are ready to start drawing. Next, what you're going to do is you're going to take your pattern and you're going to trace it on your paper several different ways, all different angles. You can have some hanging off, you can have some upside down, maybe you just want the top of the popsicle to show, but just make sure you mix it up. Juxtapose it or arrange it however you'd like. Now, as you can see here, I think I may have traced this one a little too close. So what I did was to deflect from that area and draw the attention to a different area. I overlapped this so that it would draw the attention away from where I messed up and basically focus on other areas of the paper. Next, connect that line from the popsicle to the popsicle stick on every design that you have here. Then what you're going to do is you're going to create the texture on the popsicles by making a line right up the middle, curving it over and bringing it back down to where the bottom of the popsicle is. You're going to do this for every popsicle. Then what you're going to do is you're going to create it on the left and the right. But when you create it on the left and the right, you want to make sure that you follow, see the outside of the popsicle there, that shape on each side. Curve it up and down. Repeat this for every popsicle that you have. Now after you're done doing that, you're going to then trace it with black Sharpie marker. After you've traced all of your popsicles, what you're then going to do is you're going to add watercolor. You're going to paint it with watercolor. The first thing that you want to do is you want to squirt or wet your watercolors so that they're already ready for you when you go to paint them. Okay, so we know that the top of the popsicle is red and the bottom of the popsicle is blue. So all you're going to do is you want to make sure that your brush is nice and wet and you want to be very gentle with it. Okay, start off by painting your sticks brown. Okay, and as we know, when we paint with watercolor, watercolor's application is usually very light and see-through. If you want it to be darker or more opaque, you're going to have to create several different layers of that particular color. But for this drawing, I think it's really nice to just have it with the lighter color showing through. It gives it a light feeling. Okay, so do it how you want. The next thing that you're going to do is you're going to add red to the top. And if you need to at first, you see here you can split that popsicle into 3 different sections by drawing a very light line with your pencil. But if you want to just keep it more natural and just kind of play with it, it doesn't really matter. You know how to split it up in 3 sections yourself. When you go to add the red, just make sure that you just add a little bit of a wiggly line because that makes it appear as though it's very natural looking. Try to stay inside the lines by not pressing down very hard with the brush. Keep it very, very light, almost like a ballerina on her toes is how we should be using the brush when we're painting with watercolor. The darker you want the paint, the more layers you'll have to add. Now you're going to take this red and you're going to fill in the top of all of the popsicles. All of them are red. Now, if you would like, you don't have to do it red, white, and blue. I basically just use this popsicle because it's Memorial Day and the colors were red, white, and blue, and I thought it would be very appropriate. But you can do it how you want. Wouldn't that be yummy to have a popsicle like that with like purple and yellow and green, grape and lemon and lime? Yummy. Make sure that you get even the popsicles that are kind of hanging off of the paper that don't show the entire popsicle. And if you want, you can go back and add other layers in to make the color more bright and vibrant. In between the colors, make sure that you just give the colors a good rinse, the brush a good rinse so that you don't mix up the blue and the purple, the blue and the red together because you'll get what I just said, you'll get purple. Okay, now what you're going to do is you're going to add your blue. Just skip a space from where the red was, leave that middle section white, and you can go ahead and add your blue. Notice that when I'm painting, my brush is pointed like a ballerina on her feet, not pressing down very hard, remembering to keep water in my brush so that when I go to paint, it's very nice and easy and spreads nicely. And you can notice here I have less water in my brush, which is why the blue is starting to come out darker than the red did. Wiggle that for a natural line. And keep repeating until you have filled up all of the popsicles. Maybe that one should be a little bit darker. Okay, now at this point, what you can do is if you'd like to add a little bit of shading around your popsicles to make it look like there's a shadow underneath of the popsicles, what you can do is you can take maybe black paint and go around the popsicles. If you do that though, make sure that you use a lot more water than black paint because black paint has a tendency to be very dark, darker than you want. So to lighten it up and to make sure, you just want to wet the brush, dip into the paint, and then afterwards kind of drag it on that paper towel just to make sure that you don't have too much. If it comes out too light, you can always layer it and add more, but you definitely don't want to start too dark. Now there's another option that you can do. You can also either use the watercolor to make the shadow, or you can use a pencil and you can add shading as well. Same thing, just basically going around the edges of the popsicle to give it a little bit of shadow. Okay, so take the pencil and very lightly shade around the popsicle. If you find that you're pressing down too hard, what you can do is you can hold the pencil up towards the top so that you don't have as much of a grip on it, and you'll get a lighter application of the pencil. And all you simply want to do is just add a little bit of shading and then take one finger and smear it around. Smear that shading with your finger. And you can choose whichever look you like, and you can build upon it and make it darker if you'd like. You can either add the watercolor, or you can add the pencil, or you can mix both. It's up to you. You can also take that pencil and you can add a little bit of shading on the white part as well, just to give the white part a little bit more of a dimension instead of having it look so flat. And after you finish doing this and you've done all of the popsicles, you're pretty much finished. Another idea would be that you can take the background and you can paint it another solid color, but this is what it looks like if you have all of the shadow around the popsicles. And once you've done all of that, you're pretty much finished. Good job, and I hope you enjoyed this lesson. Have a great weekend, everyone.